Hey, welcome back. If you watched the first video, if not, welcome. That's it. Welcome. My name's Lou. This is my second video. Just to recap really quick, what I'm doing here is I've got a deck of cards. I shuffle them up, and each one of the suits is related to a topic I want to talk about. And I'm not an expert in any of these topics. They're just things I think about a lot. They've been really important in my life. So I just want to. There have been a lot of people on YouTube that their words have really connected and resonated with me, and I'm just trying to maybe do that. I'm just trying to give back a little bit because there are a lot of things like truths that we kind of know internally. We just know these things, but we can't quite always put our finger on it. And sometimes just the way somebody else says it is enough to go, oh, now it makes sense to me. At least that's how it is with me. So at the very least, I'd like to just give back a little bit. And not that I'm particularly articulate or knowledgeable about all these things, but just things I like thinking about. So what I have here is this. I have a deck of cards, deck of playing cards, and for the four suits, they have corresponding topics I'm going to talk about. So the spades are writing, clubs are religious deconstruction, hearts talk about movies, and diamonds we talk about mental health topics. And usually these things overlap a lot, especially just in my head with the way it works. So that is what we're gonna do here. So yesterday, right off the bat, I had the 15 minutes of shame where I talked about writing with the old king here. So today I'm gonna give these another shuffle and we will see what find out. And each one of the cards, the value is corresponds to how long I will talk about it, with face cards being 15 minutes. All right, so what are we gonna get this time? Ready? I'm gonna show you first. Six of clubs. Okay, a little bit of low-key religious deconstruction talk. So I guess so let me start my timer here for 6 minutes, and what we will find out is what we find out. So I will talk about that. All right. Ready? All right, here we go. Okay, so I guess I'll just start with where it started. I'm an only child. I was born to two very nice people, a man and a woman. They created a child, and that child was me. I'm just stalling right now because this is kind of tough for me to talk about in a way. But I was raised evangelical Christian. I went from kindergarten through my senior year of high school. I went to Christian schools, different schools in Washington and Oregon, and most until I was 17 and got my first real video store job. Almost everyone I knew in my realm of existence were Christians, and so it was a very kind of foregone conclusion. You were this way, and I think my parents were both very encouraging about questioning your beliefs and being okay with what you believe. You got to have your own reasons for what you believe. They can't be somebody else's reasons, and which was really great. But I also got a lot of mixed signals from school and church. And I have to say also, I feel like I'm going to qualify this every time because I think it's important. I don't really like to make super broad generalizations. So I think there are a lot of people in the Christian realm. There are a lot of people that really mean well. they are sincere in their beliefs, and so it's, I think, I've found, at least in my view, like, you have to be a little bit more careful when you talk to Christians, because the way that the beliefs have been ingrained, it's so central to your personality that when people like criticize like organized religion, even if it's not related to a person, sometimes some Christians will get very defensive and go like, well, that's not the Christianity I believe in. And that's fine, for them. My feelings overall just about spirituality is, I really feel like if you have a religious belief, it really should be like an internal improvement process, and then how you improve internally should have positive results externally. So going around and telling people what they should and shouldn't do isn't as productive as just being like, I have compassion for you regardless of who you are and what your station in life is. And those things can get really mixed up, especially like in our world of extreme perspectives. So I do try to have a lot of compassion for the people who are very I'll just say dug in. They're very dug into their beliefs. And a word that is kind of divisive sometimes I want to use, but I want to use it correctly, and I'm going to explain why, is I believe, like, while the people around me meant they meant well, they thought they were doing what was best for me, I have to say it technically was indoctrination. I was immersed in Christianity, like, Christian, very small family. My extended family they're all Christians. And so when I started having weird only child thinking to myself after long stretches of time by myself, and certain questions being kind of getting pushed back on those, it really caused a lot of like conflict inside me, and seeing these sort of like contradictions of Christianity, which I'm sure I'll talk about in another time, but with things that would like, with things like mental health being an issue that didn't really get recognized until later in my life. And then now as I look back and I see some of these, like when people say, oh, you just got to be still and quiet, you'll hear from God. Well, when I was dealing with depression and telling myself I was horrible all the time and I believed in God, I was like, is that God? Is my conscience telling me that I'm worthless and all these things? So there was a lot of conflict. And then I would tell someone I feel this way, and they're like, no, that's not God. That's not God. God will be a still, quiet voice. This is all very nuanced, and I'm just sort of like scattershot talking about it right now. But I think I'm trying to express that this is not, while I didn't have the kind of like religious horrors that some people had externally, I had a lot of conflict. I had a lot of conflict internally, and that manifested in several ways in my life, and so it's been really beneficial for me to look back and see those things. So, all right, time's up, and I will take the 6 of clubs out of the deck, so we're 2 down. So, all right, well, I'm gonna stop right here. Thank you for watching again, if you did, and hopefully every video I'll get a little bit less rambly, a little bit more articulate, and I really don't want this to all be me. While I'm interested in being a better communicator, I also want to be a better listener, and I want to be a better question asker. So eventually, hopefully sooner than later, I'd like to have people on here with me that I can, have back and forth with. So anyway, for the time being, it's just me. So I hope you at least found something of value in this. All right, take care.